From the shining domicile that is Pittsburgh Comics, my old mannered comic shop owner, Colin McMahon, transforms into the world's greatest comic book talking TV host. Join us, true believers, for Comics Now!
Hey everybody, welcome to Comics Now for April 2021. The weather's changing, we're rolling into what feels like summer already. And lots of really neat stuff coming out, lots of stuff not going on at the store yet, we're getting there. Free Comic Book Day is now planned for August. So tentatively, we're ordering the books this month, so we're fingers crossed that we're going to be able to do it. But lots of really neat stuff coming out in April. I'm doing AWA as my feature book publisher of the month. They're a brand new company. They've only been around a year or so, but they've been putting out really, really good books and really good creators. Ben Percy, J. Michael Straczynski, Mike Deodato's doing art on a couple books. Just really neat books. They kind of a gamut. They have superhero, they have horror, kind of secret agenty stuff. Lots of really neat stuff. And the best thing is the books are all $9.99, so you can get a full story for not a lot of money and give them a shot. Two of them have gone to a second volume, a second series, but a lot of them are just a nice short story, a complete story. So come in, give them a chance, take a look, but lots of really good stuff there. So, we're also doing a big back issue restock. I have help with my back issues, so we're definitely restocking. Pulled up a lot of really good stuff last weekend, restocked all of Amazing Spider-Man and Avengers and Captain America. So we're doing that, and then we're going to do a full restock. So we're clearing out some stuff. I have a bunch of dollar boxes to get rid of some older duplicates. So yeah, lots of good stuff. If you're interested in digging through the back issues, we're restocking them. So lots of stuff going on there. We're going to start off with Marvel. Marvel has a couple things wrapping up and a couple new things coming. So, King in Black is wrapping up. It was supposed to wrap up last month, but it got kicked to April. So we're getting both Venom 34 and Venom 35, which is actually 200, and that's ending the Venom run. So dramatic changes happening to the Venom character at the end of King in Black. So come on in and see what's going on there. We also have King in Black is actually ending with issue 5, and we'll see how that works and what the fallout's going to be from that big event. We have another neat book called The Marvels. This is written by Kurt Busiek, who did the original Marvels back in the 90s, where it was a story of the Marvel Universe, the birth of the Marvel Universe, from the eyes of a photographer, just a regular man, watching all of a sudden all these magical creatures and beings come about and how that affected him. And this is continuing that kind of story. Stories that span the decades and range from cosmic adventure to intense human drama, from street level to the cosmic, starring literally anyone from Marvel's first heroes to the superstars of tomorrow. Also have a new book kind of spinning out of King in Black, The Mighty Valkyries. Jane Foster thought she was the last Valkyrie who's in charge of taking the dead to Valhalla, and she found out there are new Valkyries have replaced the ones that had been killed. So it's a new story with her, and it's also going to tie in where she's going to be prominent in the next Thor movie, so they're keeping her viable as a character in the comics. They're doing a big Women of Marvel one-shot, which is going to have a bunch of female creators focusing on a bunch of short stories involving a lot of Marvel's female characters, so it's going to be a nice special one-shot. We have a new X book coming, Way of X. Mutant kind has built a new Eden, but there are serpents in this garden. Some mutants struggle to fit in, some mutants turn to violence and death. Snared by questions of death, law, and love, only Nightcrawler can fight for the soul of Krakoa. So, special Nightcrawler-focused book. Then we have a real special throwback. We have Darkhawk, Heart of the Hawk #1. And this is celebrate the 30th anniversary of the 90s hottest hero in 3 spectacular stories. So if you're a big Darkhawk fan, and I know there's lots of you out there, you're going to want to get this. Also, the next big event that's coming up next month involves Squadron Supreme. And it's Heroes Reborn. We'll get into that next month. But they're giving a little primer. They're doing one of their big Marvel Tales, big $8, big chunky reprint book. And that's going to get you up to speed on who Squadron Supreme is, because you might not know. and just an easy way to get caught up on who the characters are and what their backstory is. Black Panther 25 is going to be the last issue of Ta-Nehisi Coates' run on Black Panther. So if you want to see how that wraps up and how that... It's been almost 3 years because they took a big break during COVID. So it's been almost 3 years of this run. So see how it all wraps up. Guardians of the Galaxy is not getting a new one, which is shocking. It's actually number 13, but it's a big change for the book, for the team. Al Ewing is still writing it, but there's a new artist on it. A new age of space starts here. Now when the call goes forth, whether it's from a stranded team of planetary explorers or Emperor Hulkling and his Kree-Skrull alliance, the Guardians of the Galaxy answer. The new age of space begins with brings a new artist, new headquarters, new costumes, new teammates, and an all-new enemy you'll have to see to believe. Spider-Man is getting a new series. Chip Zdarsky is back, where he did Life Story. He's doing a new one called Spider's Shadow, and this is a kind of a what if Peter Parker actually became Venom, if the black symbiote costume had taken him over back in the 90s. We also have Spider-Man Curse of the Man-Thing. This is a second part of a 3-issue Man-Thing celebration of his 50th anniversary. Man-Thing's supernatural abilities have been pirated thanks to Harrower, a zealot intent on clearing humanity off the board so a new species can get a shot at the top. The world burns and fear is the accelerant. Meanwhile, Spider-Man races across New York, desperate to avert disaster and find the one man that just may be able to get through to Man-Thing. His former colleague, Curt Connors, a.k.a. the Lizard. Miles Morales, number 25, is starting his own Clone Saga. And it's basically the Miles Morales version of the old Clone Saga, another series from the 90s. Avengers 44 is wrapping up the Phoenix arc, where the characters have all been battling to see who will be the next Phoenix, who the Phoenix Force will inhabit, and we'll find out in issue 44 who wins. Okay, that's it for the Marvel's new stuff and notable. Now on to DC. Now DC is still bringing back a lot of titles. They kind of cleared the decks, did the Future State stuff, and they're slowly bringing out the new book. So April brings us the new Green Lantern number 1. The newly formed United Planets and the Guardians of the Universe hold an intergalactic summit to decide who can best serve and protect the cosmos from danger. With the majority of the Green Lanterns called back to Oa, John Stewart arrives alongside Team Lantern Kelly Quintella, whose powerful gauntlet could be one of the most powerful and unstable weapons in the universe. With the entire landscape of the universe in flux, is this the end of the Green Lantern Corps, or just the beginning? We also have a new Robin number 1. This is written by Josh Williamson, who just got off his big long run on Flash, and he had also been doing some at Justice League, so now he's getting crack at the Bat books. After learning of the deadly League of Lazarus tournament, Damian Wayne has a new mission, winning the tournament and proving he is the greatest fighter in the DC universe. But first he must find the secret island where it's going down, and this series will force Damian to find his own path away from both sides of his family. We also have Batman the Detective. This is a miniseries by Tom Taylor and Andy Kubert. It's an epic that will take Batman on a harrowing, action-packed European adventure. A horrific tragedy in the United Kingdom sounds a very personal and deadly message to the Dark Knight, one that Batman will need to leave Gotham to investigate. We also have, kind of spinning out of the Future State storylines, we're getting a Next Batman book, Next Batman Second Son, written by John Ridley, who did the Next Batman story, and he's also doing the other side of the DC universe. And after the events of Future State, Tim Fox is the next Batman. But what's his origin story? Why has he been estranged from Lucius Fox and his family for so long? So it's a 4-issue mini that will find the answers to these questions. Now for the kids and adults, we have a new kids book, Batman and Scooby-Doo. It's an all-new, all-ages series that teams the Dark Knight with Scooby-Doo and his sleuths of Mystery, Inc. When Batman discovers his original purple gloves have gone missing, Velma, Shaggy, and Scooby-Doo travel back in time to Batman's Year One to try to solve the case. We also have Challenge of the Super Sons. Super Sons was a real fun book that kind of ended before its time. And then they brought it back digitally, and now they're printing those. The boys are back, picking up where Adventures of Super Sons left off. A mysterious woman from beyond has appeared to the DCU's favorite sons, and her arrival heralds certain doom of things to come. And lastly, they're doing another one of their RWBY books. And this one is crossing over with Justice League. So I believe that's a manga series that they're tying in with Justice League. So now, on to the rest of the guys. Starting off with Image. Image has a bunch of new ones. Most months they only have one or two. This month they have a bunch. New one is Geiger #1. And the fun part of this is Jeff Johns and Gary Frank, who just wrapped up a little while their Doomsday Clock series. So they've gotten back together doing their own creator-owned series over at Image. Set in the years after a nuclear war ravaged the planet, desperate outlaws battle for survival in a world of radioactive chaos. Out past the poison wasteland lives a man even the Nightcrawlers and Organ people fear. Some name him Joe Glow, others call him the Meltdown Man, but his name is Geiger. So let's see what's going on with that. Old Guard is back with a new series. That was a movie on Netflix that they made it with Charlize Theron. This is the third series, and it's Tales Through Time. It's kind of an anthology book written by different people. Greg Rucka is kind of framing it, but it's letting in different writers tell tales throughout the history of these Eternal Warriors. Helm Greycastle is another new one. The last Dragon Prince has been abducted, kept prisoner by an unknown threat, Aztec Mexica. Helm Greycastle and his outsider comrades are here to save the prince, but are recruited by a resistance plotting to overthrow Montezuma. Will Greycastle help save the people of Mexico, or rescue the Dragon Prince and flee? Home #1 is a new one. When a young boy is taken away from his mother while seeking asylum at the U.S. border, something begins to change in him. And it isn't just the trauma, anxiety, and guilt you'd expect. He doesn't know it yet, but it's the onset of superhuman abilities that will change his life forever. We've new one. This is from David Hine and Brian Haberlin. Jules Verne's Lighthouse. And basically, at the edge of the galaxy, there's a giant supercomputer known as the Lighthouse. The only brain powerful enough to navigate ships through a sargasso of naturally occurring wormholes, potentially cutting months or even years off a spaceship's journey. He who controls the Lighthouse controls this part of the galaxy. So I'm sure there will be lots of fighting involving that. The Silver Coin is a new one. This is another anthology book. I believe every issue is going to have a different creative team, but it all involves like a mystery of this silver coin. The first issue is by Chip Zdarsky and Michael Walsh. The story starts in 1978 with a failing rock band whose fortune suddenly changes when they find the mysterious silver coin. Little do they know that fame comes with a cost, and a curse is always hungry. Summoner's War Legacy #1. This is by Justin Jordan. The popular mobile game where magical monsters are summoned in a never-ending battle of good versus evil. Dark Horse is next, and they have some new stuff. Bring back Beasts of Burden, which has been a series for a number of years. Just a bunch of mini-series about kind of occult, thwarting pack of dogs. And in this one, Beasts of Burden's occupied territory, an elder member of the occult battling pack of wise dogs recalls a harrowing mission. In U.S. occupied Japan after World War II, a mysterious curse creates an army of crawling, disembodied heads which threaten to overwhelm the region. A new one from Mike Mignola and his whole little Mignola-verse is Kojakaru the Skinner. A strange and enigmatic bane of Eastern European witches has been dead for many years. But from a bloodied French town in the throes of World War II, a plea for help carries across the winds of time. A desperate band of resistance soldiers and their white witch allies rest their fate on the hands of Kojakaru's ghost. Jenny Zero is another one from Dark Horse. Meet Jenny Tetsu, the hard-drinking, hard-partying daughter of beloved superhero Mega Commander Zero. After washing out as the military's top kaiju killer, Jenny Zero now lives the celebutante life with her hotel heiress and publicist best friend Dana. But when the massive creatures return, Jenny must decide if she can sober up and save the world. IDW is tying in with some of the Godzilla hype and has a new Godzilla series come out, Monsters and Protectors. When a coldly single-minded businessman uses an untested element to create clean energy for profit, he inadvertently wakes up Godzilla. Boom has a couple new ones. One I'm really excited about because it's one of my favorite writers right now is Ram V, and it's The Many Deaths of Layla Starr. And with humanity on the verge of discovering immortality, the avatar of death is fired and relegated to the world below to live out her now finite days in the body of 20-something Layla Starr in Mumbai. Struggling with her newfound mortality, Layla has found a way to be placed in the time and place where the creator of the discovery of immortality will be born. Will she take this chance to permanently reverse the course of history, or will she just live out her life? Magic #1. This is Magic the Gathering, and taking some of the storylines that are present in the card game and bringing some of the characters to life. Across the vast multiverse, those gifted with a spark can tap into the raw power of magic and travel across realms. They are the Planeswalkers. These are their stories. Aftershock always has a couple new #1s every month, it seems. The first one is Phantom of the Scan. This is by Cullen Bunn. 20 years ago, a comet fell to Earth. Since that night, Matthew has been haunted by a spirit that gives him incredible psychic abilities. But these abilities come with a price, and payment is due. And then Project Patron. This is by Steve Orlando. 30 years ago, the world watched in horror as the Patron, a hero sent as humanitarian aid from a different dimension, went punch for punch with Woe, a primordial beast and perfect match for our mighty protector. In the end, both hero and villain fell, but the Patron returned and continues to defend us to this day. At least that's what we've been told. The truth is, the Patron died that day. The UN replaced the Patron with a Reploid designed to mimic and rival Patron and continue his mission. But what happens when that goes wrong? Girls of Dimension 13 is by Graham Nolan and Brett Blevins. 4 young women are brought together by a mysterious invitation to live in a creepy building in New York City. They soon learn that the building houses a portal to the other 12 known dimensions, and their story continues. AWA has a new one. It's the second arc of Resistance, which was kind of a pandemic book that led to the creation of a bunch of heroes. In the wake of the assassination of their leader, the Resistance is in disarray, disconnected from each other, and hunted by authorities around the world, including an army of Reborns, which is their superheroes, or mutants, I guess, recruited by the American government. To avert decimation at the hands of a fascistic government crackdown, the Resistance must discover the ace up their sleeve and the key to unlocking it. Behemoth is a brand new company that's been putting out some interesting books. They have a couple. You Promised Me Darkness. Approximately every 75 years, Halley's Comet orbits around the sun, and every time this happens, people around the world are born with incredible abilities. Special auras that grant them supernatural skills, but these auras can also be cursed. Black Mask, one of my favorite publishers who kind of took a break for a while there, is back. Alice in Leatherland is a new one. Alice, a young writer of children's books, is hurtled out of the fairy tale-like life when she discovers her girlfriend has been cheating on her. Charmingly defiant, she leaves her small forest town and leaps into a new adventure to seek love and find herself in the fast life of San Francisco. They also have one called White. They did a series a while back called Black, where in that world only black people got superpowers. And this is kind of a counterpoint to that one called White. It's been 3 years since the world learned only black people have superhuman abilities, and the United States has responded by electing Theodore Mann to the presidency. The only person standing in the way of his policies to control empowered blacks are Kareem Jenkins and his allies. Heavy Metal has been getting back into comics. They've been collecting a lot of the stories in the magazines into comics, and this is another one they're doing, The Modern Frankenstein. Elizabeth Cleave is a brilliant young medical student attracted to the waspish, charismatic surgeon James Frankenstein. He wants to further medical science by all means necessary. So how far is Elizabeth prepared to go? New company I'm not familiar with, but this book looked really interesting. Hero Tomorrow Comics. It's called Bloom #1 is their issue. It's 1969. Ramsey is an aspiring comic book artist who is trying to find inspiration for his femme fatale. When he meets wild dancer Regina at a street fair, he invites her into the woods for a character photo shoot, where she begins to break on through to the other side. And just the art looks really good, and it just looks like a really interesting book. Second Sight is another little company who's putting out a lot of books. They have one called Duplicant. Duplicant is a thriller about the forces conspiring against one man who offers hope during a pandemic. That man is Matt Travers, a scientist who creates duplicate organs that save humanity from the organ failure contagion. Only their high cost forces people into indentured servitude. In answer to this, a dangerous black market arises, which is run by a religious fanatic and Matt's former mentor. Following Matt's life-changing meeting with a duplicant, a recipient of the technology, he comes to question everything he knows as he strives to learn the truth behind his encounter. SourcePoint Press is another one that's putting out a lot of neat books. They have one called 20 Fists. This is a comic about fist fights and bad romance. The no-names are new to the 20 Fists Fight League. As they begin to make a name for themselves, the worst possible thing happens. Their leader, Chell, falls for Billy, the leader of the rival crew, the Big Jackets. Titan has one called Minky Woodcock, the girl who electrified Tesla. They did a Minky Woodcock book before where she met Houdini. But private investigator Minky Woodcock becomes involved with the affairs of maverick genius and reclusive pigeon fancier Nikola Tesla, only to discover a horrifying conspiracy involving corrupt politicians and Nazis. They also have a Doctor Who, they have the Doctor Who license, and they're doing a Missy series involving Missy, who is a great character on the show. And the debut of the Doctor's deadliest adversary, Missy wages war on the 3rd and 12th Doctors. Valiant, bringing back Shadow Man. They kind of do this. They let characters kind of sit for a while, and then they bring them back. And so Cullen Bunn and John Davis Hunt is bringing back Shadow Man. Jack Boniface is Shadow Man, a powerful protector who keeps humanity safe from the darkness that claw at the fabric of our reality. The forces of darkness are awakened, and they are hungry for life. Will Shadow Man be able to save us all, or will the darkness devour the world as we know it? And then lastly, Vault, who always has really good stuff, has a new one, and it's another one from Rom V. It's called Radio Apocalypse. Long after the rock out of space struck the world and turned it all to dust, in Bakerstown stands the last radio station on the planet. Radio Apocalypse, broadcasting into the unknown, a beacon into the dark for those who wander the dark places. Now change is coming to Bakerstown. Among the refugees flocking into an already precarious settlement, an orphan boy, Ryan, caught in an indiscretion, will twine his fate with the radio station, and in doing so begin this mixtape of love and heartbreak in interminable hope. This soundtrack to the land of the world. So, lots of good stuff in April. Like I said, I'm revamping the store. We're getting the back issues really in order. And please come check out the AWA selections. They've been really good. Everybody that's read them has really liked them. A lot of people have been getting like their entire run. They're trying every book. So, really good production values and everything, really good books. So, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, you can find me at the store, PittsburghComics.com, Pittsburgh Comics on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram are PGH Comics. So again, thanks for watching and stay tuned for Comic Previews Theater. See ya.
You don't look good, you know. You're getting worse. Day by day, hour after hour. It's starting to show. I barely remember you. I barely remember who you are. Yes, you do. Yeah. You won't let me forget. It's going to happen again. Tonight. Another is going to die. Another? Yes. Another one of you. Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!